We are considering grace, and by the grace of God, this year we should be through with everything we want to say about grace. If I see that we are not going to be through before our catechismus, I will ensure that I rush it myself so that we are going to be through. But we are almost through. I think we have considered how many kind of grace have we considered now. Number one. Number two, this is the fifth one. This is the fifth one. So I think this is the last one. Then I will just say one or two things about, after I finish preaching on the grace that serves, I will just say one or two things about forgiveness of sin, confession of sin, and other things that we need to know as believers doctrinally, so that we can be properly helped. Amen. Under the grace that serves, we have considered a lot, and we are still going to consider. I told us that serving grace is God's power and ability to serve Him and others with His divinely imparted gifts and aptitude. I told you that serving grace keeps us from being unproductive. I told us that serving grace is the impartation of God's ability. I told us that serving grace is love assisting. And I told us that it takes grace to serve. And why it takes grace to serve, that while we are serving, we are not going to see ourselves that we are the one doing it. We are not going to see ourselves that we are the important personality that is doing the work. We will not have this sense of thinking more than how we ought to think, thinking highly more than how we ought to think. We must see ourselves serving God in the local church, in ministry, as ministers, as workers, as somebody that has received grace, that is privileged to serve. And so we are not going to arrogate to ourselves